have any way to run that power across the app.
Alright guys, so my theater actually had a week early screening of Only the Brave, and of course I went ahead and I checked it out. Reason why is because next week I actually have a very busy week at the movies. Well, not too, yeah, it's busy. I have to watch Boo, Medea Halloween, Geostorm, and Happy Death Day next week. So, might as well take advantage of this Saturday night and watch Only the Brave early. So, let's move on to the review. This movie is based on a true story on the Granite Mountain hotshots in Arizona. Of course, there was a group of firemen which actually, they control fire. They make sure it doesn't spread around by kind of burning what's around it and make sure it doesn't spread. It's kind of hard to explain unless you read an article or watch the movie, but they make it clear what they're doing in this movie. I'm a sucker for those true story movies, especially if it's Peter Berg directing it, whether it's Deepwater Horizon or Patriots Day. I have to watch it. Miles Teller gives himself a fantastic performance here, proving himself that he could actually work with movies like this. His character in this movie goes through a lot of changes, because when he starts off in this movie, he's like a responsible, junkie, and then he goes from a more responsible man with a really good job. So his character goes through a lot of changes in this movie, and you could easily tell. Josh Brolin, he is the leader of these firemen, and he also, he gives a really good performance, and he has a very, also a more of a emotional performance halfway through the movie. Not going to spoil anything, but I'm just going to say that he is also really good at his emotional performance. Jeff Bridges, yeah, he is probably still playing the same supporting character that he usually plays in movies, but he is also great in this movie. This movie does correctly capture this group of firemen, because you really kind of see how they bond together, whether, when they first, accept Miles Teller into the group, they don't really get well along with him, or they just kind of tease him sometimes, and then, you kind of see, some type of brotherhood thing going on, where they actually start to rely on each other, and they do start becoming closer to each other. So this movie really captures this group of firemen very well. And this movie just captures that moral correctly. This movie also captures the jobs of these men correctly. Sure, for some people, their job may be confusing to why they're doing it, or, it's just going to be hard to understand at least, but this movie still explains it in such a good way. And the movie also captures tons of emotions on these characters. And again, it's the character development to this movie, whether it's the emotional performance that Josh Brolin gives halfway through the movie, or Miles Teller, the way that he changes from the beginning to, again, how he's kind of irresponsible, and he goes to a more responsible man, and, it just really works in this movie. The characters, you almost feel like you actually know these men. And all this leads up to the final 25 minutes, where all this intense, crazy things start to go down with the fires. The fire starts to spread more, and, I'm not going to say what happens in the end, unless you know the true story, because this movie is based on a true story. Unless you know the story, you already know what happens, but if you're someone like me who actually went in blind to this movie, not knowing much about the Granite Mountain hotshots, and not knowing what happens in the end, you're just like me. You're gonna be in shock in what happens in the end of this movie. I was in shock. I was a emotional wreck in the end of this movie. And again, it really feels like you already know these characters well enough to a point where you're actually cheering for these characters. And for some, the last few minutes could get hard to watch, just because of how emotional you could get watching those last few minutes, but that's the emotional impact on this movie. And I didn't even know that this movie was 2 hours and 15 minutes long. This movie actually felt like an hour and a half long. Only the Brave, it's such a good movie. I do encourage you to go watch and support this movie. This movie is great. I nearly really love this movie. I'm to a point where I'm in between of really liking this movie and loving this movie. I just think it's such a good movie. I definitely do encourage you to watch and pay full price to watch this movie. You will not regret it. What can I say? Only the Brave. I'm gonna give Only the Brave an A-. I'm gonna be shocked if this movie doesn't get nominated for at least one Academy Award. You know, it doesn't have to be Best Picture, it doesn't have to be Best Actor. I mean, it could be Best Supporting Role, maybe. I could definitely see this being nominated for, like, Best Sound Mixing or Best, visual effects, because there are some really nice, visual effects in this movie. And I would just be shocked if it doesn't at least get nominated for at least one Academy Award. Shocked. Again, it doesn't even have to win, it should at least get nominated. But yeah, Only the Brave, I definitely recommend this movie. Anyways, have you guys checked out Only the Brave? If you guys seen it, what did you guys think about it in the comment section down below? Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. And like always, I'll see you guys later for my next movie day. Bye.